right. Well, welcome to a second chance show tonight. My name is Austin, and here to my left is my co-host Philip Jones Jr. And we welcome you all to a wonderful, wonderful evening for another great show. We have something very, very, very special and unique for you all tonight, and we have a panel of four wonderful, brilliant women for this show tonight. I'm going to introduce each of them one at a time. And for tonight, we have Angela Larita Dixon, Dr. Christian Francisco Drake, Sally Trayor, and Trish Phillips. All right, what's going on? How are you all doing this evening?
Hi, very good.
Hey.
All right, and thank you all again. Thank you for coming on to a second chance show and being here and being and wanting to share your journey with the audience out there with us today. And I just want to say, it's great to have such a great, wonderful group of women for us in honor of Women's History Month, and with it being Kidney Month. And for everyone out there watching, each of these wonderful women has a great testimony, a great story in connection with organ donation, or rather knowing someone who's had a transplant. And without further ado, I am going to start with Miss Sally Trayor, and if that is okay,
That's
I'd
great.
like you to go ahead and share with the audience and share a little bit about yourself and you know share about your journey.
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much for having me here and having me be one of your panelists this evening with a bunch of great people. I'm really excited to have had this opportunity to contribute tonight in this way. My kidney disease journey really began when I was 15 years old. I went to my primary care provider to be cleared to play soccer my first year of high school. And the doctor kind of checked my blood pressure and was really concerned based on my age, why I was having such ridiculously elevated blood pressure. So he decided to run some tests and said that we need to kind of wait for the physical clearance until those came back. The next day, by the time I got home from school, my mother is in a panic because the doctor's instructions were that I needed to be taken to Children's Hospital, and that he's called the emergency room to let them know that I was coming. So things kind of happened really, really fast after that, because that evening I got my first catheter placed. This was the first time I ever had surgery my entire life, or ever even been in the emergency room for that matter. And then started dialysis, was in the ICU for 4 days and hospitalized for 25 days after that. So the adjustment, I don't even know if I really adjusted for my first year, because it was a lot of typical teenager attitude of, I didn't ask for this, and so I'm not going to conform or accept it. So part of that rebellion ended up with me being continuously hospitalized until I had my parathyroid removed, because I wasn't taking my binders or anything like that. And my little sister, kind of looked at me. I came out of surgery and she's like, I know it's hard. I just need you to try. And I don't know why that was such a powerful moment for me, because from that moment on, I have just been trying ever since. And that's meant really learning about what's happening to me and educating myself about what it means. Like if I'm told that I need to have a certain test or something like that, taking it upon myself to really understand what that means for me so that I can be a better and more educated advocate for myself. So I was on dialysis for 4 years, and then my cousin stepped up to be a donor. So by the time I was 19 years old, I received my first kidney transplant. Um, but again, a year later, I was in acute rejection because I never really learned healthy habits with medication compliance and adherence. I just believed that once I get the kidney, I would do better. So this has become like one of those things that I talk to teenagers about, in that your dialysis habits, they go into transplant with you. So learning the healthy habits early has been one of those messages that I've really pushed. The transplant miraculously lasted for 15 years until 2019, where I went into my second end stage failure and had to resume dialysis again. This time, finding a donor was really challenging. My sister wasn't a good candidate. My husband wasn't a good candidate. I had 3 friends stepped up. They were not a good candidate. Um, and then we enlisted on the list and registered at Georgetown. And 4 months later, we got the call. And so I am today, 4 months post my second kidney transplant. And I just feel like it's been such an emotional roller coaster, as well as mentally challenging. But in the midst of all this, I've accomplished some really phenomenal things personally and professionally. I was able to go to pharmacy school in those 15 years that I was healthy. I graduated from pharmacy school and then landed a residency in one of the top programs in the country at Jefferson University in Philly. Finished that residency and got an opportunity to actually start working as a chronic disease state management pharmacist now for heart failure and COPD and diabetes. Um, so it's been really challenging, but I've had some wins that have kind of been really awesome. And I'd be lying if I sat here and said it's been this terrible journey for the last 21 years. It hasn't. I did great in pharmacy school. I graduated with the top recognitions of my class, and these are some accomplishments I'm really proud of. So I just want to encourage people that, yes, it's terrible, it's challenging, it's something that nobody should be dealing with, but you have the mental fortitude, and I was blessed with the support. That made a huge difference because I did have people around me that refused to allow me to believe that I was different somehow, or that I didn't have the right to have the same dreams as everyone else. So that's what I'm passionate about sharing with people and empowering those suffering with kidney disease, that if you want it, you can absolutely go after it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
Thank you.
I love the perseverance, Sally, and that's truly inspirational, especially with everything that you're doing now, and definitely like you are going to become a wonderful pharmacist. I believe that you are. So, and many years, with this transplant, and again, congratulations on receiving another gift of life, and I am going to go now, and I'm going to ask Dr. Christian Drake if she would like to share her wonderful journey with everyone. So, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good. I don't know how I knew you were gonna call on me next. Man, I was
Random.
that. Well, first of all, that was an amazing story. It was inspiring to see you, because I know I had pharmacy classes I had a few pharmacy classes, so I know that's not easy. So the fact that you went through that whole process, and congratulations on your kidney, that's truly inspiring.
Thank you so
I
much.
say that. Um, but so Edward, um, my husband Edward, he's the founder and CEO of the Why Not Foundation. He he already had his transplant when we got together. So he got his transplant October 2008, and we started dating January 2011. I do remember, I don't know if I think I told him this because we were going to the same church. And so I do remember when he had made an announcement with one of his friends at church one day when he was still on dialysis, and his friend Lance at the time was like, well, his friend Lance was like, oh, you know, he's been on dialysis and I'm about to donate my kidney, you know. So I remember that was my first time that I saw him. And thought he was cute, obviously. But so I remember that, and he had on his this pink why not shirt, or you know, they both had on their why not shirts and stuff. And so I remember seeing him before, but like I said, he already had his transplant once we got together. And then I was an organ and tissue, like registered organ and tissue donor, but obviously meeting Edward, it's a lot more impactful and, you know, a lot more meaningful, because it's like if it wasn't for some, you know, people signing up, Leanne signing up to be an organ and tissue donor, I wouldn't have met the love of my life. But so our journey post transplant, you know, since he had his transplant just a little bit, like 2.5 years. And so a little bit after that, some months after that, maybe a year after that, is actually when he moved to Georgia. He ended up losing his coverage and for his medications and things like that. So that was a scary time. And so it was they don't have the laws like you guys work to pass now, to where, you know, after that 36 months, you know, you can those medications are covered. So that was a scary time and a stressful time. And then just being with him just kind of opened my eyes to not only that aspect, but just I remember, you know, he would get sick with like a cold and then end up in the hospital because it takes so long just to get over simple things. And you know what I mean? Just the lifestyle and the compliance and making sure that he's eating right and watching his potassium, because if he eats too much of this, then his potassium is going to go high. So me being conscious of where his levels are. And so I'm like, if he's not eating French fries, and I try not to eat French fries and stuff and stuff like that too. And it's like, you know, so just little things like that I'm conscious of. And so that's been the main thing. I remember one time we went to Vegas for his 30th birthday, and you know, Vegas is hot, they got the sun out, and Black folks like myself back then, I wasn't wearing sunscreen like that. We're chocolate. It's like, you know, what do you need sunscreen for? You know, Edward's extra chocolate. And so he had this scab, that's being ignorant. And so he had this scab that was on his leg, and it had been on there for a while, and he was like looking at it, being worried. And I'm like, you know, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's, you know, it's a scab. I'm sure it's okay. And he eventually got it checked out, and it ended up being skin cancer. And so that was the thing that really just kind of, you know, reminded me of where he is and how you guys are just, you know, just can get other things just because you're immunocompromised. And so that was something that kind of made me not be more sensitive, but when because Edward can be very like, oh, my neck is itching, this is, you know, but it's like he's had that experience that was very similar to Sally's, where he was doing a routine physical for football and his blood pressure was high, and then he found out he had kidney failure. And so, of course, you have that experience, every little thing is going to be like, hold up now, why is my toenail looking yellow? I just checked out. So it's like, I keep that in the back of my mind, and now I'm more like, okay, well, let's get this checked out. You know, let's get everything checked out and make sure that we're all good. So that's been my experience with him. And so, yeah, 12 years. He had his kidney for 12 years, and we're just thankful to God that he's still healthy and has been able to do the most, like Sally, do the most with this second chance, and like Austin and like all of you guys do the most with this second chance of life, and try and be as impactful as possible. So
And yes, and one thing I wanna say, Christian and Phil, if you wanna add in here, is that even though your husband had to go through all of those things, look at how pushing through and persevering through all of that has affected so many lives around. So even though you have gone through something like that, just being able to get through it, and then you have touched so many lives that's around you, and being able to bless so many lives that's around you, and and for you to be right there by his side, that's very special. To be able to be there for him, to stick with it through it all, because being able to when you have someone who is on immunosuppressants, I know that's it's not easy, and especially when you mention when you get a little cold here and there and you have to go into the hospital. And so just being able to I thank you, like, for being able to stick by his side, and you guys have been able to bless so many people, and that is actually very, very inspiring. And Phil, I don't know if you have anything that you want to add to that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like Austin said, the fight in yourself to be able to stand by Edward through his adversities and things that he had to face, transplant related or not, is a big thing. We have this conversation a lot, and the main thing I bring up to them is the importance of a support family, because us as transplant patients, living donors, anybody in that inner circle, we can't do it on our own. The recovery process, the meds, the fighting. Sometimes we don't feel like fighting. We so tired of what we've gone through from day one. It's like, you know what? I just forget it. But because you have that support system, that friends, family that stick behind you from day one, and they push you, they fight for you, and so when I see somebody like yourself in the position that you're in, even though you might not have been with him from the beginning, you've still done a lot of fighting for him. And without your fight, there's no telling exact. I mean, I know you had the Why Not Foundation, but that support, that push, that thrive, that love, it adds another level to the fighting that he can do. And I can contest this and tell you that I know for a fact that what you've done for him over the years have caused him to push and fight. And because he was able to push and fight, like Austin said, he's been able to bless other families, pediatric pre and post transplant patients around the United States. So we thank you definitely for sticking with him, because you know me and Austin would be a part of the Y Foundation if he's not here. So thank you. All right, Austin, you can go ahead, keep going, sir.
Yeah, and if you could show the shirt, what shirt you got on?
Oh, this is out. This is the Why Not Connect. I was on Edward for years about getting a V-neck. Dude, I want a V-neck. So, the V-neck short sleeve, Why Not Connect shirt, and Why Not Connect will be relaunching next month at the end of April.
Blessings,
Awesome.
blessings. Yes, and so thank you so much, Christian. I appreciate it so much.
You're
And so
welcome.
the next guest that we are gonna get into is Miss Angela Larita Dixon. Um, if you don't mind sharing, I have known her for basically all of my life.
Right.
my Yes, my god sister here. So, if you don't mind, sharing, you have a wonderful testimony, wonderful journey to share as well. So, I'll let you take it away.
Okay. First of all, thank you guys for having me here. I'm so proud of you, Austin. I swear, I knew him since he was a baby. Seriously. So, but my journey started with my husband. We had been married for 8 years, and he kept having headaches, and so he was already on blood pressure medication, and so he went to the doctors, and the doctor told him that he had 30% kidney function, and he was going to need a transplant. So I'm like, really? What? You're so young, but I was so uninformed back then. Like I thought this happened to older people. I didn't think, we were in our 20s. So, but once he realized he needed a transplant, they tested his family. Nobody matched, or they had health issues where they couldn't donate. So I got tested. I'm thinking there's no way it's going to be me. But we were a match. So that was really, really, really a blessing. And I remember thinking, I do not want to tell my mom because she's like me. She doesn't know anything about, dialysis or kidney disease or anything. And I don't want to tell her because she's going to be like, well, where's his family? But when I told her, she was like, okay, if you have to do it, you have to do it. But I could tell, I'm her baby. She still had concerns. So, but once we did all the testing and I met with a social worker, and a social worker wanted Anthony not to be there. And I'm like, what is going on? I don't know if you guys had this experience or not, but the donors. But when I met with the social worker, she said to me, if you don't want to do this, we'll tell him that you're not a match. And I'm thinking, what? And so she was like, yeah, we'll tell him that you're not a match. And that way he won't be mad. He won't be angry. He won't be disappointed in you. And I'm like, okay, no, I don't have to have this conversation. I've made up my mind. I'm going to do this. He's my best friend. He's my husband. We had two daughters at the time, ages 4 and 2. So I'm like, why wouldn't I do it? But that was just interesting to me. I don't know if they still do that, but they do. They do. Okay. Well, that's interesting. But we went in the hospital. We had it done at Washington Hospital Center in DC. And his doctor was Dr. Light, Jimmy Light, and he was over the whole transplant department. So we knew he was a good doctor. And the morning we did the transplant, my whole family came from down south, because I'm originally from South Carolina. So my whole family came up, and they're at the hospital. Of course, my mom was a little pouty. She still couldn't understand why it had to be me. But so we went in, we had the transplant, and I remember waking up to Dr. Light, and he kissed me on the forehead and said, "You did an amazing thing." And I said, "Thank you." And I went back to sleep. Like I just remember that part. And I remember them putting me in my room. And the next thing I remember was my mom and my oldest sister in the room with me. And I heard my mom saying, "I don't understand. Anthony, who's my husband, Anthony's awake and he's talking. My baby is still not awake. What is going on? I don't understand what's going on." And my sister was trying to calm her down, and she was like, "Mom, she just needs to wake up. She'll be fine. See, watch, I make her smile." But I heard it. And so I'm thinking, if I don't smile, my mom's going to go crazy. So I just remember smiling. I opened my eyes, but just smiling. But that's why I agree with you guys when you talk about support system. You have to have a positive support system. That's so important. I understood my mom at the time. Like I said, I was her baby. So she just had concerns for me. It wasn't nothing against my husband, but it was for me. And after we did a transplant, he was fine. The kidney lasted for 15 years until 2016 when he needed another transplant. And he went on dialysis for a year after that. And then he was blessed by his nephew who donated his kidney. And so that's where we are today. He's absolutely fine. I'm grateful for this platform because there's so much misinformation and people that are not informed properly. If I had to do it all over again, I would. I mean, if I had 10 kidneys to give, I would do it. It's just something that there's no reason why we have a transplant list to me. Like, I think that's just the craziest thing because it's really a spare kidney. It's just all there's to it. It's amazing to me. So I hope that those watching this program who are able to donate or know someone who needs a kidney can help out because, I'm fine. It's been 20 years. I take no medication. I'm perfectly healthy. So hopefully, people can see this and realize it's a safe procedure. It's easier now than when I did it. So, just hope people can bless other people with their spare.
Yes.
I think the slogan. I love it, though. I love it.
So, but Austin, but you were with you. You knew. I mean, you were with us the whole time. You know, when we were going
Yeah,
through this. You know, you, the church
yeah,
family, everybody. You know,
and
it's just
yeah,
a
yeah.
blessing.
Yeah. So like Anthony, not only is he my god brother, but my kidney brother as well. You know, because I text him a couple of times. He'll text me like, and it's we have a great relationship because I know whenever he goes into the hospital, or if I happen to go into the hospital, I know that we always make sure that we connect and that we give each other advice. Because we're both transplant recipients, and Larita, I just want to say I'm very, very, very proud, and that you were able to come on and share, and and after because we're gonna take a break in a little bit, but afterwards, because God has like blessed each and every one of you all so much that when we come back from the break, I just want you guys to kind of we'll probably ask a couple of questions, and then just kind of just kind of share about the blessings that have come into you all life, as a result of organ donation, what you guys have been able, what you ladies have been able to do now, with the gifts that you have. So, and like I said, once again, thank you so much, Larita. I appreciate it. And everyone out there, I'm pretty sure is inspired and is gaining something from this panel from tonight. And now I would like to get to Miss Trish Phillips. How are you doing this evening? If you don't
I'm
mind
well.
sharing with us.
No, I wouldn't mind at all. First of all, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on your platform with these amazing people. I know most of you through social media, and it's an honor to actually put a moving body behind the names. So I want to thank you again for inviting me, and it's an honor to be here. And my transplant story started back in December of 2016. I had the honor of donating to a best friend of mine, Kimberly. She and I have been best friends for over 20 plus years. And I witnessed her throughout the years. We kind of like became our own, coined the modern day Bonnie, excuse me, the modern day Thelma and Louise. And when I say that, I'm trying not to get emotional. She and I shared a bond that I cannot explain, and we continue to do so. We're both doing well 4 years post. And over those 20 some years, she was fine, and I witnessed her back in 2014, I would say, start having health issues and declining in her health. I then noticed, sorry, just spoke to her yesterday, so this is why it's like really
Raw.
raw a little bit today,
Take your time.
than normal. But she and I have been in touch more, and it's the bond has been closer even through the pandemic. We're able to remain that bond without, putting ourselves at risk. But back in 2014 is when I noticed her health started declining. And to see her go through that dialysis 3 times a week for 3.5 hours, it really pulled at my heartstrings. And the weird thing about it, I come from a large family, it was 6 of us. I'm the baby, and I'm not from Fort Lauderdale. I'm actually from a small town in Florida, but on the panhandle called Port St. Joe. So my parents were very strict. So when she was battling at her worst on dialysis, my parents were declining in health. So we had kind of lost touch in movement, and I was back and forth on the road. And so I think I could say to this day for certain, I know God arranged our environment for me to be able to donate to her when I did, because I know if I joke about this with my sisters, They're all still alive, and my niece, who's considered a sister, if mom and dad was still alive, there's no way they would have been able to understand me donating to a friend, not a family member. Now, everyone has met Kimberly, with us being friends for that long. Of course, they've known her. But because my parents were old school, they wouldn't have understood it. They were in their 80s. And I, on the other hand, did not quite understand it either. I just took a chance of donating. I was like, I'm not even related to her, but I'm tired of her suffering and her being on the wait list. And also, there was other organ donors, potential organ donors that didn't match. So, saying that, I went through all of the process, and Larita can know how strenuous this testing is. Plus, my BMI was high then. So, I was from April all the way to September. I had to lose weight. I had to go through all of the panels and the screenings and the blood work and the labs. And it was very, very trying. Lots of hiccups, but I did not give up and I was determined. So, that December 15th of 2016, my life was changed for the better. I have absolutely no regrets. I would do it again and in a heartbeat. And since donation, I have stepped up to the plate and become an ambassador and an advocate for many things that I'm sure we're going to talk about later, as you said. And because everyone needs to know the numbers for the African American community and minority
Yes.
on the wait list for organs is extremely high, and number one as rates on dialysis. So to make this change, it's very, very important. And the
Yeah.
statistics are like mind blowing. And I always say, why, if you can not only become a living donor and live a healthy lifestyle, but also you can be a donor when you're deceased. This is a whole nother myth, stigma when it comes to this as well, that I'm sure we're going to get into later. But why take them to heaven? We don't need them in heaven. They need to be left behind. God would want us, or your higher power would want us to leave them behind here for everyone to use them. So since that time, I have become part of many of different things, as you guys know from Facebook, and I will get into them because my connection with meeting the Why Not Squad is through my organ donor squad. I have, and most of you know them already. Brenda Cortez, who's with How the Owl. I'm an ambassador for that, and then we also
Yes.
have the other ambassadors. Kate Griggs, who does the worldwide kidney donors. There's Jean Stein. She's a recipient and she has played a big part into my life now. And like you said earlier, Larita, it takes that unity, it takes a family. And with my sisters and nieces not being in town with me, I depend on my squad. So and you know George, he's part of it. George Franklin, Patricia, the list goes on. Maria, she's a double lung transplant. So there is a lot of us, and there's a lot of good things coming out with the book and everything that we'll get into later. So thanks for allowing me to share my story and my journey.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Trish. And so we are going to take a break right now, and when we come back, we're gonna ask you, wonderful ladies, a couple of questions, and just kind of get you guys to open up, whatever you feel comfortable sharing, as far as like what you're doing now in the community, and some of the things that you have going on that you would like to talk about, that could help benefit the community, to others that are around you, as well as around the world. All right, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Philip. That was awesome. That was an awesome, awesome, awesome tribute and video for Women's History Month. And welcome back, everyone. And as I said before we left off, that I would get into a little bit, have you all get into talking about the things that you're doing in the community. And so I'm going to start back off with Sally. I see that you have your wonderful, wonderful shirt on. If you don't mind, kind of sharing what you have going on, and share a little bit about what your shirt is about. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So I feel like for as long as I could remember, I wanted to openly talk about my journey or the reality of my life, right? Like people who have no idea that I live with kidney disease, they're kind of really shocked when I share like, oh yeah, I'm a kidney disease survivor, right? Because everybody kind of just sees me going and going, but they don't really understand what goes into actually like pulling myself up and like what it takes for me to show up in the world. A lot of people don't understand that it takes a lot of work and a lot of work even for my husband because some days I can't do it like I want to with all my might, but I really just can't. I can't show up. Um, so I wanted to start something where I would talk about what I go through, what I have been through, the things that I've learned, what I've tried that works, what I've tried that's failed, in the hopes of trying to really normalize the conversation around kidney disease. That's like my number one goal. Like, I just want it to be a really normal conversation that people can have in their homes with their friends, in cafeterias around colleges. And so I started a nonprofit that just launched, actually, not even 3 months yet, called Sally's Journey. Um, it's really about normalizing conversation, really, really trying to eradicate a lot of the isolation that is coupled with this diagnosis. You really feel this sense of you are by yourself. It doesn't matter who's in your life, how much they love you, and everything that they want to do to show you that they're in this with you. But somehow, mentally, you know that you're the one waking up and walking around in this body every single day. There are some experiences that cannot be shared with the people that love you. And sometimes I really don't want to share with them that today's a dark day or today I don't want to show up in the world. I wanted to share those things with everyday people, and really let them know that um, the assumption that having kidney disease is my most difficult obstacle in life, it's inaccurate. It's not. My most difficult obstacle or my biggest obstacle in the world is how to make sure that I am a productive member of society with kidney disease, how to make sure that I am independent with kidney disease. It's how to make sure that I can have a fulfilled life with kidney disease. Now, if I remove kidney disease from that, I really think like all of my girlfriends have these same things that they also are trying to accomplish. So it's like kidney disease is this part of me, but it isn't all of me. And so I want people to see that, and I want people to know that that's important. If you have somebody in your life who's living with kidney disease, it's important to talk to them about like their actual being and their actual person that is not completely kidney disease. Like people with kidney disease have dreams. They want to be entrepreneurs. They want to have impact in their communities. They want to help get laws passed that's going to make life better for other people. Like we have real and true aspirations that completely goes beyond this diagnosis that we have. And so with Sally's Journey, I just want to share a little bit of that with everyday people so that they know how they can be there for somebody who has kidney disease, but also for the teenager or the young adult who's got kidney disease, for them to know that their dreams absolutely matter. And they have the right to dream those dreams, and there are ways to accomplish them. So Sally's journey is just like, for anybody who knows me, it's just a compilation of my personality, in that I don't believe that there's anything that can absolutely stop me. And I'm very comfortable with trying and failing. Like, it doesn't bother me. If, with everything I've overcome, if I'm still afraid of failing, then I've learned absolutely nothing from everything I've been through. So that's kind of what I'm working on, and trying to use my professional skills as a pharmacist to do community events, go to churches, screen for diabetes, hypertension, medication education, techniques for adherence and compliance. So I'm trying to like marry my two worlds, where there's this super energetic and bubbly person, but there's also a professionally trained individual that can actually help people in my community to be healthier and learn healthier habits around their everyday life when it comes to medications, because we are a country fixated on prescription.
Yes.
That's
Wow.
And Sally, I have a question for you. How do you feel like physically right now with your new kidney? How are you feeling?
physically, I feel great. Like, I feel like I recognize the body I am in. On dialysis, that was part of the most challenging thing. I didn't recognize that body, like that. It felt like I was trapped in this other vessel that was very unfamiliar to me. I struggled with the changes in my physical appearance. I struggled with the weight gain. It felt unfamiliar to me. But now, like, I'm going to the gym 6 days a week. That's familiar to me. Like, I'm an athlete. I like working out. I like sweating. That's familiar to me. Walking the dog without feeling like I gotta sit on a bench 6 times for a 30 minutes walk, because I'm just so exhausted doing so. Um, so it's the mental health that I'm still struggling with so early. I didn't know my donor this time around, and I'm struggling with that. With every month that passes where I celebrate a milestone, I remember that some family somewhere is remembering a loss today as well. Like, I'm celebrating my health today, but somewhere, I don't know them yet, but they're thinking about a family member that they also lost today, just 4 months ago. And so, not being able to express my gratitude to them, and not being able to honor the memory of this person that has had such a tremendous impact on my life, has been emotionally incredibly difficult. I didn't anticipate that that would be so hard for me. But every day, you know, it's a process, I think.
Right.
Yes.
So I'm a question something that you said earlier, because I'm not gonna touch on this emotional stuff, but you kind of explained something in a broader way that Austin said in the very beginning, that when we started working together, is that uh he said I was Austin before I was a patient. And I think that goes for all of us, whether it was a living donor, recipient, any of us that deal with medical challenges, period, not just transplantation. But I had my name before I had my illness.
Yes.
Even in Austin's sense of literally having it from day one,
Yeah,
his name Austin came before his diagnosis did.
exactly.
And so it's something that I've actually been trying to put together myself, even as, like I said, since this time of me and Austin working together, because it kind of made some things clear for me, is that whatever God intended me to be happened before I was even born. So, I take what I have, push through it, and keep on, pushing out. And I work to be the name that I was given, from the beginning. I'm a junior, and my dad goes to work Monday through Friday, every day with no problems. Yeah, I mean, everybody complain about going to work, but it's not like he's complaining like he's upset that he has to actually go. So that was pretty much what I was going to go ahead, Austin, continue.
Yeah. No. Yeah, so I want to get into the same type of question with uh, Miss Larita down here on my screen, and if you could kind of share a little bit about how with Anthony receiving the kidney, how it has changed his life, things that he has been able to accomplish, and how he's been a blessing, and how he's been blessed.
Yeah. So I did the donation in 2001. We started a business in 2002. Um, as Dr. Drake mentioned earlier, with insurance issues, I remember when it was time for Anthony's transplant. Um, I remember he had left one job a month and was out of work for a month, and then started a new job. And there was a problem with us, um, with the insurance company and the dates of the transplant. So I remember speaking to uh, customer service rep at the insurance agency, and I remember telling me that if we don't get this squared away, Anthony will not be able to have his transplant. And I remember thinking, we live in a country really where they really won't give him a transplant. Like, this is absolutely insane to me. And I just want to just make mention of that. Um, that was just such a shocking time for us. But it was squared away. But it was so emotional. We cried. It was just awful, that part of dealing with insurance. So, but anyway, we started a business in 2002. AMD Mechanical Contractors. We're an HVAC company. Uh, uh, Anthony is of course, he's the president. He's my boss, but he's a great person, and he's a great business owner. When I watch him work, I'm just so amazed at the things he can do. He teaches himself a lot. So yeah, that's where we are today. Our daughters are grown now, 24 and 22 next month. Actually, this month, and then that's where we are. So I think the blessing of the kidney, donation, our family is just blessed. We're blessed, and I just can't speak enough on being a donor. I also want to make a point too, Austin, that a lot of people, I don't know if your viewers know this, but if you donate a kidney and you yourself have problems, you go on the top of the
Yeah,
list.
yeah,
A
you
lot of people
know,
don't know that. And that's a difference. You're thinking, oh, well, something happens to me, what's going to happen? I have to wait years, get on dialysis? No, you go on the top of the list. So that's an important fact to remember.
and one of the same questions to you, Larita. Like, how are you feeling? Because you only have one kidney now, and how are you feeling? How are you feeling with that one kidney?
I feel great. Like I said, I take no medication. I will be 50 in a few weeks. So I'm not on anything. I'm healthy, no problems at all, and I would do it again over and over if I could. I hope people realize your extra kidney is just that. It's extra. Maybe when we get to heaven, the Lord explains to us why we have two. I don't know. But I just know it's an extra. And people need to realize that.
Yes, and yes, I mean, and also to your point, I mean, look at the panel that was put forth tonight, and this is just one of trillions of reasons to be an organ donor. I mean, like, everyone here has such an impactful full story, and has been blessed through kidney donation and organ donation in general. And next, I'm going to ask Dr. Drake if she would like to share as well, because certainly you have been a blessing in your husband's life, and Edward Drake has been a blessing to so many. If you don't mind, kind of sharing a little bit about how organ donation has been a blessing in your life as well.
Sure. So like I said, the biggest thing is obviously just being able to meet the love of my life. And I say that confidently. I know that God brought him in my life, and for our journeys to come together. And he helps me. He propels me forward to pursue my purpose, and I the same with him, because are connected in that way where we both um, know that the meaning of life, you're supposed to fulfill a purpose. So just in that regard, and even hopefully one day we'll have kids and he'll be the father of my children too. Um, so in that regard, and just being married to someone who has had that life experience, you look at life through a different set of lenses than most people. A lot of people take their health for granted and they take life for granted. Um, but when you have such a big life impacting thing happen like that, you realize the fragility of life. Hopefully, more people do COVID now, but you wouldn't realize it. You walk, and so because of that, my life has been fuller, because I know it's like, okay, we gotta get to going, nothing, no day is promised. So everyone's like, okay, you gotta do this vision board, you gotta write it out, you
Yeah.
gotta, and so it's just, my life has been so much more, it has been really, really full. I'm married to Mr. Why Not, and he says, why not to everything? So it's like, very full. Like, no lie, he said we wrote our own vows, and he said why not at the end of our vows. So he's yeah, that's my life has just been really full, and I've had to get used to the color orange.
Yes. Yeah, me and Phil, we got plenty of it. We have
Oh,
plenty of it. Plenty of orange around here. But
I bet.
yeah, orange has been an impact and a blessing to so many children. So
definitely.
thank you, Dr. Drake. Phil, I don't know if you had any other questions that you wanted to add as well.
Um, Not at the time though. I know one's gonna pop up in a minute, so I'll come back if I need to.
No, no problem, no problem. And Miss Phillips, if you don't mind sharing, some of the things that you have going on right now during Kidney Month and just in the community as well, if you don't mind sharing. Thank you.
No, of course I don't mind sharing. Um, Back in 2017, I was approached by one of the I guess clients. I'm a general manager at a small gospel radio station here in Fort Lauderdale. So one of the clients of the largest African American roofing companies reached out to me because his family and his wife's loved ones were on dialysis or had lost battles without getting kidney transplant. So they approached me about sponsoring a weekly local radio show about organ donation. So I took them up on their offer, and it still goes today. But with starting that, that started to open all of lots of windows for me. I was signed up with Donate Life for ambassadors with LifeLink of Florida. They're the division of Donate Life, and they allowed myself and Kimberly to become the calendar girls, poster girls for the month of January of that year. And from there, I started being an ambassador for Life Alliance out of Miami, and the windows just opened the floodgates. I was on several groups with Facebook, and the first group that I was in, there was a lady by the name of Kate Riggs, and what she does, she is a living donor herself. And the cool thing about it, it was, I don't know if you could see her poster behind me. She
Yes. What is it?
It says worldwide kidney donors. So I first met her because in this group, any living donors, they were getting and showing these decals for their cars saying living kidney donor, and they were cool. And I was like, where are they coming from? Where can I buy them? But she doesn't sell them. She takes her own personal money and she incorporates that in her banners and her stickers to get the word out and to commemorate and to acknowledge donors. So, Larita, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but I'll
Mhm.
definitely send you the information if you need it.
Yeah.
And so that opened up the doors for me to meet Kate Brenda Cortez. And this is how I came to know of the Why Not Foundation because of the collaboration of the book. Brenda Cortez does How the Owl, which stands for Helping Others with Love. And
Wonderful.
yes, and you know she's partner up. She is a living donor herself. And I became an ambassador for that, especially during these trying times. And she has her website, howtheowl.com, where you can go on and get the books and the merchandise. And through the pandemic, another squad member, June Symes, she started Howl Hero. So with that, it just opened up all these windows where I enjoyed it. And I met the Why Not Foundation. I met you guys, and as of last year, I was invited to be one of the co-authors with Brenda Cortez novel, her book called entitled "Because of Organ Donation." And what this book is 25 authors telling their inspiring stories that's definitely going to pull at your heartstrings. We each have a chapter and it goes into each of our stories. The books are going in production and will be on sale for April 23rd. So I will be posting that information as well. But it also, if you follow Brenda Cortez and the Because of Organ Donation website, you can get the information from there as well. So I just try to, I learned the more you're active in getting your story out and speaking in different engagements and becoming ambassadors, the word gets out more. And it definitely helps breaks down the myths and the stereotypes and it just brings everybody together. And I have a group of what I call my organ donor awareness squad, and it made up of recipients and of donors. And we are thick as thieves. We're a good pack, and I wouldn't be here or come through a lot of things without them. So if they're listening and watching, I want to thank them for everything and being part of my family and in my circle. So basically, just get the word out, especially when it comes to the statistics and register people, register people, register people. And
Mhm.
basically, this is it for me.
Um,
Thank you.
that's that's so cool.
All right, so Phil, did you have anything that you wanted to add on? I'm gonna ask everybody one more question, and before we wrap up, and that one question is I don't mean to put you on the spot, but like if speaking to the audience out there right now, um, what's what's one thing that you hope what's one inspirational thing that you hope that people can take away, that you want people to take away from this this panel, this show right now? What is what is one thing of advice that you can kind of give to people to take away from this show tonight? And I'll start with Miss Larita.
I just want to say share your spare. That's the only thing I can't stress that enough. I it it's the unknown that I think scares people. And I think if they research, and get informed, they'll know that you can donate a kidney and be perfectly healthy afterwards. So I just hope that if anyone's watching, if even it's just one person, just donate, just research and donate because there's so many people out there in need. Um, Visit a dialysis center. Just see what people go through before they get their kidneys. Um, I just hope that more people would just donate.
Thank you so much. And Dr. Drake, I'll ask you the same question, what is one thing you hope that people kind of take away from this show tonight? Anything inspirational that you would like to share, whether it be a quote or anything you're comfortable with?
Yeah, sure. Well, on top of, like Lydia said, making sure you're educating yourself on, instead of just, somebody's cousin who said, well, they're gonna let you die if, for somebody else. Like, really take the time to educate yourself for yourself before you just, pick up somebody else's stuff, whatever that they told you. But in addition to that, I'd say I believe that everything God gives you, your gifts, your talents, your abilities, even your physical organs, you could say your body is you are just whole, you're responsible for it, right?
Yes.
But it's not yours. Okay, so it's a gift from God, and you're not going to take it with you. And so you have to be, well, you don't have to be, but I would just, you can't take it with you. So why not be a blessing and use everything that you have while you're here on this earth, um, to be uh, to be a good steward, so you can bless other people. But you can also be a good steward when you're gone by taking it, by being the donor and being able to bless and save a lot of lives with your organs. So.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Mhm.
And Sally, if you'd like to share.
I think that this question for me, as as an organ recipient,
Yes.
it's a it's a rather emotional question, right? But when I talk to people, I usually have one singular objective, and that objective is always that I would never ask anybody to do anything. When I think about what preserving my life has meant for myself and for my family, I would never promote or ask anybody to do anything that I know is going to harm them. That's just the way I live my life. I couldn't promote anything like that. But I can tell you about what's happened to me. And for me, I have been blessed twice with an opportunity to really live my life in a way that I can only think that it's because God wants me to accomplish something beyond anything I could ever imagine in my wildest dreams. One person, one person can literally save 8 lives. You will never be more impactful in your entire existence than to think that you literally have the power to save 8 lives by registering to be an organ donor. The kidney thing, like Miss Loretta said, it's a spare part. It's like the spare tire in your truck. Except in this case, science has advanced so much that they will not touch you if there's even the slightest risk that you will end up in end stage kidney failure. Like I saw it happen with my husband. He's healthy now, but a genetic testing showed that he has a predisposition in old age and they would not touch him. Right. And he works out every day. He's like, I'm never going to have diabetes. I'm going to work out till I die. Like, I'm going to take care of myself. But that's a risk they are not going to take. So it is not a situation where they're just going to recklessly put your life in danger. But when I say that you have the power to save a life, like I'm not exaggerating. I am a walking example of this. Someone's generosity, a stranger's generosity, is responsible for me being here today and launching a nonprofit, in the process of launching another consultant business for pharmacy residents. So it's worth considering because it's not an overstatement to say that you can save a life. Like, it's not an overstatement.
Well said. Well said. Thank you so much, Sally. Um, Miss Trish Phillips.
Yes, if anyone out there is listening and not sure about being a living or a deceased organ donor, educate yourself, find out the facts. And I must ask each of you who are in doubt or still questioning, take a moment, close your eyes. And with you closing your eyes, envisioning yourself or a loved one, family member, friend, anyone, even yourself, and think about that. If you are in need of an organ, would you want someone to donate an organ for you, whether it's a deceased organ or a living organ? Think about it. And if you do this with your eyes closed and you put yourself in a person's shoes who needs organs at that time, that I guarantee you can help you want to at least find out more. Ask someone, anyone on this panel. I'm sure if you hit us up on Facebook or reach out to us personally, we will be able to inform you whether we are recipients or donors or family donors. So just envision that. And that is your answer. Yes, you want to help because you cannot take the organs with you. They are needed here on earth.
Mhm. Slogan, slogan. I think that's
Yes.
Well, I had to get. I just had to give y'all a round of applause. No,
thank you guys
that was
too.
wonderful, wonderful. It was wonderful to have each and every one of you on this show for tonight. I'm walking away with this like, oh, I'm ready to, I'm inspired. Like you guys is like really inspired me even more. I'm pretty sure like you've inspired so many people out there. And you said all of you are on like social media, and I know people like whoever is watching will be able to follow each and every one of you on like Facebook or Instagram, and I just want to say I truly truly appreciate you all coming on the show tonight and sharing because it was an honor and it was a blessing. Phil, if you would like to take it away from here, bro.
Yeah, well, first off, Mr. Lee, thank you very much for leading us this evening. We greatly appreciate it. Did a great job. Ladies, we are definitely grateful and blessed to be able to have you on tonight and to be able to, um, if you had any fears of doing it at all, to kind of put those behind you to be able to bless and help somebody understand the importance of being able to bless somebody with kidney, liver, heart, I guess after effect in those instances, but and to be able to give somebody else a chance to do something with their life. Um, all of us here have been impacted by it some type of way. Giving, getting, just giving the love and support and help to somebody. And if you're watching today, I ask that you consider everything that these women have said today, by seeing if you are a match for somebody, helping somebody find a match, anything in those realms. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you. Um, Before we end, next week's show is going to be a little different to a degree. Um, Mr. Lee may or may not be here because he has to go out of town for family business. But next week, I will be having Pastor Craig Sherman Mitchell and First Lady Mitchell on with us. And they're trying to do something very positive in the community. They are both in part of the LA Southwest Experimental Theater Lab, along with myself. And so they recently just showed a production they put together with their youth. inside of their church, and it was very powerful. So their thing is they're in the process of trying to find resources, raise money to be able to bring in the kids and people from the community to be able to help them stay safe, stay out of the streets, and be a blessing to them that way. So we will show the youth department's production, and then also right before that, we'll be showing the production that we all actually were a part of. That was awarded an award from the Kennedy Center in Washington D.C., which is on about 15 minutes. But the youth production is the main thing for that show next week. So please come back, relax with us, get the powerful message also that Pastor will be giving along with First Lady in an interview after the show, the message that comes with the production. So again, myself, Mr. Lee, our panelists, we're grateful that you were here with us tonight. We hope that you stay blessed. Please, please, please think about being a donor, either now or after. Just register. That's all I can ask you to do. Just register. Give somebody else a shot.
Yes.
After like they said, you can't take it with you. You know, so why not let somebody else, try to be a blessing, whether it's advocacy or anything that they have a eye for doing. So, um, thank you very much for being here with us on the Second Chance. You have a wonderful night.
You guys have a great night. You all.
Thank you. Nice meeting everyone.